Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me and watching this video. Good job. Way to do it before class starts. Today we're going to be talking about an important concept that we're going to show up a few times throughout the year. We're going to be looking at rhetoric. And I'm going to kind of just breeze over this quickly when we're doing it in class because I'm expecting you guys will have already watched this video. Now, I made a document for you to take notes on, and though you will get points for those notes. So go ahead to Classroom and open that. And if you want to reduce this and just make this like a little window and have it on one side and then have your doc on the other side, and you can just play it and I'll talk and you can see my slides and you can hear what I'm talking about and then you can take notes. And when you're finished watching the video, finished with your notes, you can just submit it and you'll have that part done. So while I'm opening up the slides and getting ready, go ahead and shrink this window down and go to Classroom and open up that Google Doc. So let me share my screen. You guys should be doing that while I'm sharing my screen. All right, so this is where we're going to start. Okay, so I'll just talk for a little while I'm waiting for you to open up your doc to work on. So you should go to Google Classroom in the assignments section, daily work. You should be able to scroll down and find where it says rhetoric notes. You click on that, you open that doc, and then you're ready to take notes. Also, you should reduce this, or you can do like a split screen, I think, if you want to continue working on one side while you're watching this little video. So thank you, very good job. All right, so let's get started. And I hope you're enjoying my English accent. So rhetoric is what we're looking at today. First off, let's look at our objective for the lesson. So our objective is you're supposed to analyze the use of rhetorical features in an argumentative text. We're going to be reading some speeches and some foundational documents, and we're going to be looking for rhetoric in those pieces. Now you might be asking yourself, what is rhetoric? Well, I have a definition for you, and it's right here. So rhetoric means persuasion. And we all know what persuasion means. It means being able to convince people of your perspective or your thoughts. And lots of times it means getting them to do what you want them to do. Now, it says we're supposed to be analyzing the use of rhetorical features. So we know rhetoric means persuasion. So probably rhetorical features means persuasive features. So what are the rhetorical features? A rhetorical feature in any characteristic of a rhetorical feature is any characteristic of a text that helps convince readers of a certain point of view. Writers use a host of strategies or devices to construct texts that are logically ordered, that establish their credibility, and that appeal to their target audience. So a rhetorical feature is anything in there that they're doing that's persuasive in their piece. So the piece that this goes with is called The Four Freedoms, and it's by President Roosevelt. And so we're going to be looking at that speech and we're going to be saying, okay, what is he saying in here that is persuasive? And what are his persuasive techniques? What are his persuasive tools that he's using? All right, now a little note on your notes. So while I'm saying this, you can be typing your notes. So while you are taking your notes, I don't expect you guys to copy the whole presentation. You have the presentation, you have the video. I don't expect you to copy the whole thing. What you should do is you should look at my slides, you should listen to my beautiful voice and what I'm telling you, and you should write down what you think is important from what I'm saying and from the video. So probably some things you would pull off of this slide is rhetoric means persuasion, and rhetorical features are the things that are persuasive, the characteristics that are included in speeches that are meant to persuade. All right, let's continue on. So here's rhetoric defined again. Rhetoric, the art or study of using language in speech or writing effectively and persuasively. So the content is what they're talking about, and the rhetoric is how they present it in a persuasive way. So you might want to write content, what, rhetoric, how for your notes on this particular slide. Or if you think you've already covered it with the stuff on the previous slide, that's fine. You don't need to write any more. So here's more about rhetoric. Rhetoric is how we give the impressions we give, how we say what we say, do what we do, and write what we write. Rhetoric is in speech and in writing. Rhetoric is all around us in conversation, in movies, in advertisements, and books. in body language, and in art. We employ rhetoric whether we are conscious of it or not, because people want to convince other people to do what they want. I want to convince my daughter to eat her vegetables. I want to convince my son that he should stop screaming. Those are examples of times that I'm using rhetoric in my own life. I hope you're enjoying this accent. Now, this is why we're studying this in English, because becoming conscious of how rhetoric works can be transforming. This consciousness can alter our speaking, reading, and writing, and make us more successful and able communicators and discerning audiences. So when you're hearing a speech, you can say, oh, they're trying to appeal to my emotions, and I think maybe if they're using too many emotional appeals, it's because they don't have any hard facts. They don't have any logos. So let's continue on. Oh, I particularly liked this photo, this picture. The goal of persuasion is to change others' point of view or to move others to take action. So your words would hopefully be more gentle in persuasion than this particular person's. But sometimes rhetoric can be very forceful. And so this could be an image of rhetoric. More than any other figure, our friend here, Aristotle, who lived from 384 to 322 BC in Greece, he determined the orientation and context of Western intellectual history. And he was an author of systems of thought that we still use today, both in psychology, physiology, and science. I apologize. I need to do a much better job on my words. Let's continue on. So Aristotle had a rhetorical triangle. Aristotle believed that to make convincing arguments, writers needed to look at three elements: the speaker's persona, the audience, and the subject matter. Writers must take all into account, and all three into account, because they're all connected and interdependent. Here we have a picture of Aristotle's rhetorical triangle. You guys can see how they are connected. So we have on the bottom, we have ethos or character. Actually, ethos is how it should be said, ethos. Ethos or character, the writer or speaker, it is the job of the writer to sound credible and trustworthy. And so if we can trust the person who's talking, if the person tells us something about their background or something about their certifications, that is an example of an appeal to ethos. And so we know that we can trust them. So ethos. So if in the speech that we're reading, Roosevelt tells us something about who he is, or we know who he is, we could say that that is an example of ethos. All right, up on the top, we see logos. And if you ask me, logos is, and this triangle, it presents it as content. So logos is the word or content of the message. And it's the facts, the stuff that he has to present his message. All right, and then in the bottom, we have pathos. And pathos is the reader or the audience. And that's how he has it. But we usually use pathos to mean emotional appeals to the readers or the audience's emotions. So we want to make them feel something, maybe sadness, maybe anger, something that will persuade them. So here we have again, and you guys have probably heard of these before, and I'm sorry, I should not say guys, you students, you ladies and gentlemen. That goes along with my English accent better. So Aristotle's rhetorical triangle, we have logos, ethos, and pathos. And logos, as you can see, is logic, reason, and facts, and ethos is ethics, image, and credibility, and pathos is emotions and passion. Now, one of the things that you need to be careful of is you need to be careful of something that Mr. Gillis might tell you. Yes, I am. No, I'm, I thought I was recording this, but now I don't know if I am. Oh, I am recording. Am I recording it? I was trying to pause. Oh, there we go. Pause. I apologize for that interruption. The custodian, I'm here after school, and the custodian was coming around cleaning the rooms and collecting the trash. And I saw him coming and I could not find the controls. So hopefully that was a little bit of time when I was like looking around and you got to hear my American accent. That was a little bit of time where you could maybe catch up on your notes. So I apologize for that. We're back. Let's continue on. So logos, ethos, and pathos. Those are the elements that we're going to be looking at. So when we read the speech, we're going to be looking for some logical appeals. Where does Franklin say something that just makes sense? Or ethical appeals. Where does, so ethos is ethical appeals. So where does he say something that appeals to our sense of fairness, our sense of right and wrong? It's not just audience, it's also appeals to our sense of right and wrong. And also pathos, or emotion. So does he say anything that makes us think that we need to be that he's trying to make us feel a certain way? Now, you notice on the bottom of this, let me read this to you. Mr. Gillis might ask if you know a fourth, and that one is kairos. And this is time and place. An orator uses this to their advantage to persuade the audience to act now at the time being. Most commonly, it's used to create pressure, such as sales and discounts. And the speech that we're looking at, it is important actually to note that, because this was right around, well, we'll talk more about it, but right around World War II. And so the kinds of things that he was saying, it was meant to persuade in relation about something in relation to World War II. So let's continue on. All right, using logos, ethos, and pathos will help you to master the art of persuasion. Through language, you'll be able to change the point of view of others, and through language, you'll be able to motivate others to take action. I'm very good at persuading people. I usually use logos. So here, I'll give you an example here with this one. Logos is an argument based on facts, evidence, and reason. Using logos means appealing to the reader's sense of what's logical. It just makes sense. This can be proven, this is logical. For example, 80% of the writers interviewed said they write at least 4 rough drafts before they publish a piece of writing. So if I was trying to convince you to like write multiple drafts and I say, here's my evidence, this is an example of logos. Another example here, and I think I might have given this to you your freshman year, but here's another example. I wanted my mother to buy me Birkenstocks for Christmas. They're rather expensive, and my mother has a hard time purchasing gifts. But I told her, so I decided, it was summertime, I decided I needed Birkenstocks, and I wanted her to purchase them for me for my birthday. My birthday is December 31st. If you want to buy me gifts, you can. I will accept them all through the month of December and January. But anyway, I know sometimes she has a hard time choosing gifts for me. She's given me some very bad gifts. Once she gave me a cooler. There was like a free one from her bank. It had like the bank logo on it. It was like one of those little padded ones like you could use as a lunchbox. So I constructed my argument. I went into my mother and I said, Mother, I actually called her Mom. And I said, Mother, I would like you to buy me some Birkenstocks for my birthday. And here is a logical reason why you should buy me Birkenstocks for my birthday. So one reason is you always have a really hard time thinking of what to get me. You can get me this, and I will be very happy. It doesn't have to be a surprise. I'll be very happy. And you can let me wear them now, and then I will give them back to you when the weather gets cold, and you can wrap them up. And when I open them on my actual birthday in December, I will be overjoyed because it's exactly what I want. And I also told her, and then you won't have to worry about it. It'll be one less thing to worry about. It'll be checked off your list. So those are all factual examples of why she should buy me Birkenstocks. All right, let me continue on. Oh, I paused my screen sharing. I think that's better. There we go. So I think, so logos is, we already did that one. Let's go back. I think I talked about, I don't think you need to see this slide necessarily. All right, we already talked about this. We already talked about this. Yeah, we're good. So even though I stopped my sharing, we're fine. So there's logos. They're the words that go with logos. All right, let's continue on. All right, ethos. So ethos means the writer or speaker's appeal to the audience's sense of ethical behavior. The writer or speaker presents him or herself as credible, trustworthy, honest, and ethical. So I wanted to convince my mother, I said, like, you know who I am. You know I'm a wonderful gift giver. And if I'm giving you this advice on what to give, you should listen to me because I'm a great gift giver. So that would be an example of ethos that I would use to convince my mother. So go ahead, look at this. Ethos is an argument based on character. I'm saying I'm a person you should listen to. Here it is. So in your notes, you should have like logos, and then you can write maybe my example from my Birkenstock story. And then you should say, it should say ethos, and you should have my example from my Birkenstock story. And now let's look at the last one, pathos. So pathos is an argument based on feelings, and you need to be wary. If someone has an argument and it's all feelings and no facts, they maybe don't have any facts, and maybe it's a very weak argument, and maybe you shouldn't listen to them. So using pathos means appealing to the reader's emotions and feelings. So example, she stood before the class preparing to present her speech. She regretted not rehearsing the night before. Her knees shook, her breath grew shallow, and the colored spots danced before her eyes. She gripped the podium and hoped she would not pass out in front of her classmates. So I'm trying to maybe some descriptive writing there to try to get you to put yourself in this person's and feel what they're feeling, their nervousness. Some examples of pathos from my Birkenstock story. I might say to my mother, remember what you got me last time, or a couple of years ago when you bought me that cooler for Christmas or for my birthday, and it was really not a very nice gift. And I know you love me, but I was very sad and disappointed in that gift. So this is a chance for you to get me exactly what I want, and it'll make me so happy. So that would be an example of pathos, like reminding her how I was disappointed in the past. I also heard a political ad a few years ago when John McCain was running for president. And we read John McCain's little speech about Mike Christian, his little article about Mike Christian and his experiences as a prisoner of war. So this political ad was trying to get you to vote for John McCain. And so it gave a lot of experience, it gave a lot of information, and it was kind of descriptive, like this example. And it was talking about how, what he suffered and his injuries as a prisoner of war. And it really made you feel for him. I think I might have even teared up listening to the political ad. So, but then I thought about it, I was like, this was all pathos. They wanted me to feel something about John McCain so I would vote for him, but they didn't give me a lot of like logical arguments. Logical arguments would be things like he's served as a senator for like this number of years, whatever it is. So that's an example of pathos. And this should all be a review because I think you've done this before. So I'm almost finished, don't worry. In this activity, you will read a speech delivered by President Franklin D. Roosevelt and 2 parts of the Constitution of the United States to root your thinking in the foundational documents of the nation, which is one of our essential standards this year. So I'm about to done here. You're going to need to get out your book to read this. It's on page 45, but I am finished. So I hope you have enjoyed my English accent, and I hope you are well-versed, your experience, your knowledge of ethos, pathos, and logos has been refreshed and enriched, and you are ready to go forth and read this speech, and that is all. Thank you so much. I am finished.